principles and values that are necessary to create a culture of care. It's not that it did not exist. It was existing, otherwise we wouldn't have survived. Unless there was a culture of care, we would have survived. It's there, children was supposed to. However, there was a lack of shared framework, a common understanding of what does it actually mean to care for devotees. And also, how do we plan it? How do we execute it? How do we evaluate whether actually care is being meted out at all levels of devotees, different levels of their lives, different levels of their advancement, different types of needs, different groups of devotees and their specific needs. All of these were never systematically addressed, and therefore now this manual has been developed and now, just like we have IBC spread out all over to give an understanding of what exactly does it mean to take, accept a guru, what is Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, what is Worship Guru. So it's not Acharya, founder Acharya, etc. Similarly, on this care aspect, both Shastric, empiric, and also from other social service endeavors for that. How do people care for people within an organization? That has been very nicely and very objectively brought up. Of course, that is more for the whole seminar we will be doing, but what we are discussing today is just a brief understanding of what actually a culture of care should be. How do we, okay. Srila Prabhupada's desire for a culture of care. So, as our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, his teachings as his example always remain like a lighthouse for our guidance and inspiration for any of the efforts that we undertake. So, how do I? Just move down.
You just tap on it.
Oh, okay. Okay, how do I go back? I think before I do it, just now we can do it. So, this is a letter to Radha and December 1971. Now we must guide them very nicely in Krishna consciousness, because you are a veteran devotee. Can you imagine this letter being written in 1971? When was ISKCON established? Yeah. September 1971. 1966, and this is 71, which means 5 years. So if anyone here has 5 years of Krishna consciousness, this letter applies to you also. Now you must guide them very. This was initiated few devotees, and then he wrote to Kanaguru. Now you must guide them very nicely in Krishna consciousness, because you are a veteran devotee. And practically speaking, the future of our Krishna conscious society rests in the hands of my older disciples. Now, what is this care all about? Give them all facility to perfect their lives. This is create a facility whereby any sincere person, any conditioned soul, Brahmanda Pranite Guru Bhagyavanji, somehow if he has happened to stumble into the right place and somehow come at the feet of Krishna as a guest of Srila Prabhupada, has walked into his home, it is our responsibility that at least that person should go away because of our lack of care, our lack of concern to very sensitively and very carefully that seed of devotion that he has, how we can help that individual manifest that into the fruit of our God. So from the beginning to that situation. So we have to have a facility which could be a system. We have to have some system whereby everyone, what does that mean? Give them all facility to perfect their lives by protecting them and instructing them nicely. By protecting them, which is like putting a fence so that the Bhakti-Lata creeper is protected, and instructing them by nourishing it nicely. Shravanam Kirtan Jale Gaurav Sincha. Lord Chaitanya instructing Guru Goswami said that Bhakti-Lata nourished by regular hearing and chanting. By protecting them and instructing them nicely. That is now the duty of my senior disciples. So this is the principle of Shiksha. A culture of care means a culture of Shiksha. Sensitively and very carefully protecting and nourishing the devotional people of every being according to their situation in devotional life. It's not easy. It doesn't happen by chance. Yeah, we may say Krishna will do the needful, but Krishna has put us responsible, especially those who are seniors, who have received so much. Now it is their turn to actually give and share. Now, sometimes people ask, all these kind of caring systems, different centers, different yatras, different communities of ISKCON have developed so many types of systems of care. In Mumbai, they have a council system. In Belize, they have a Bhakti Vriksha system. Usually, it's Giriraj Swami Maharaj, they have the Maitri system. Then you have the Nectar system, Bhaktivedanta. And in London, they have various systems. Systems are nothing but a set of practices that are chosen according to the needs of that particular region. practices are like the building blocks which make a nice system. But essential principle that is understood that different people at different levels have different needs, and that has to be met on a regular basis. So that I remember one time, I think if you come here, His Holiness that's what Maharaj was asked. I think it was in Manor or it was in some other place. He was speaking about yogic care, and he was saying the leadership should be asking this question: what would it take for each and every particular devotee to feel protected, inspired, and encouraged to remain active in the mission of Srila Prabhupada in the last day of their life, and then do whatever it takes to manifest that. Whatever system, whatever guidelines, whatever practices are needed. Is this kind of caring in parampara? Because everyone asks, is it in parampara? Has Prabhupada said something like that? So, this is a letter to Maruti Devi, Los Angeles, 6th March 1970. Again, after instructing some girls, some ladies, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Maruti Devi, I have asked them to take instruction from you, one of their elder god sisters. Whatever you have learned, you are one of the old students. Whatever you have gathered by experience, you must hand them over to the new students. This is called parampara. As simple. So somebody who's been trained, somebody who has received, has thoroughly understood, applied, is not like shared. However, unless it is very properly planned, it may, and it is systematized, it will not be fully effective, and it may even cause confusion, because different people may guide differently, may not know the background of the individual, so therefore some kind of system is necessary, whereby at least everyone knows there is one person to whom I can go and receive. I trust that person's intention. I trust that individual's capacity, capability, and I also trust that individual's wisdom and maturity to give me proper direction in my spiritual life. And therefore, the leadership organizes a facility whereby everyone receives personalized guidance. Because generally, it so happens that management is such a thing that it takes away a lot of energy. So initially when the group is small, a personalized attention will be possible. But as the group expands, naturally because of personalized attention, people feel inspired, they feel grateful for what they have done, what they have received. Now they want to share. And therefore, a lot of people start coming. Quality attracts quality. And quality attention is given to people. People are happy, people are satisfied, people are enthused, people are encouraged, people feel encouraged, people feel sheltered. Naturally, they are inspired to go out and share that with everyone else. And actually there were regrets. One time, one very senior leader of our movement made a very interesting statement. He said, a beautiful temple, wonderful darshan of the deities, sumptuous and tasty prasadam may attract people to come into the temple. But sweet, trusting, loving relationships amongst devotees sustains them in the long run. And so therefore, that 6 kind of loving exchanges, actually, that's the life of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, in the Nectar of Instruction, makes a very profound statement. Text number 4. Radha explaining the 6 loving exchanges amongst devotees. He says, this movement was started single-handedly, but just because of these 6 loving exchanges, this movement is spreading all over the world. That is the life of Krishna consciousness. It's the love, it's the trust, it's the personalized attention that Srila Prabhupada gave to the individual seekers. They were so fine, they want to share. And they did what they received to the others. And that's how the whole international society exploded within such the Hare Krishna explosion. It was actually Krishna's love. It's Krishna's love. Everyone needs only one thing, to love and be loved. In the Brihad Upanishad, it is explained. Yajnavalkya was asked by his wife Maitri, what is that one essential need, if fulfilled, even if other needs are more or less not so much met, still a person can go along. And Yajnavalkya Rishi said, to love and be loved. That love for the parents, for the children, that love on a physical level manifests as giving them the physical needs like food, clothing, shelter. That same love on a subtle level manifests as encouragement, appreciation, giving them a sense of self-worth. But if the parents are evolved in Krishna consciousness, they understand that in and of itself, these things are incomplete without the ultimate connection, giving them the ultimate responsibility of giving that love, connecting them to Krishna's love. So, that is the essence of our movement. Receiving Krishna's love and sharing Krishna's love. But mere speaking about love without a very system, very objective system, professional system, very professionally established system, will be only lip service. And mere system without the virtue of care would collapse, would be simply for namesake. It won't work. So we have to develop the virtue of sharing that love, genuine compassion, genuine concern, but not like Prabhupada cared for everyone. conditions so he wanted to tell. Actually, he told Bhurijan Prabhu one time. He said, I want to deliver the all the living entities in the universe. That was his compassion. Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane. One Vaishnava in his bhajan writes that Lord Chaitanya's each individual devotee has the power and the potency to deliver the whole universe, like Vasudeva Datta. He said, let all the saints of all the people in the universe come unto me. Let them all go back to God and let me suffer eternally in hell. This is the spirit of the gopis. To relieve Krishna's headache, they are ready to go to hell eternally. That's the mood. That's the mission. This is Gopi Bhav. Gopi Bhav doesn't mean just like a Gopi Bhav club and aspiring to Gopi is this. This is the mood of the gopis. And what is Krishna's headache? Krishna has a transcendental headache. His headache is, how will the suffering conditioned souls of this world come to me, who have turned away from me? Lord Chaitanya had this headache. He asked Haridas Thakur, how will the suffering conditioned souls? Nityananda and Haridas Thakur wanted to relieve the headache of Lord Chaitanya by literally going to hell. Repeated in 22 marketplaces and Nityananda Prabhu being hit by Madhara. Literally going through hell to relieve Lord Chaitanya's headache. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Parampara had a headache. What was his headache? How will this message of Lord Chaitanya be spread all over the world? And Srila Prabhupada literally went through hell, leaving Vrindavan and staying in the ghettos of India. So going to hell is in parampara. Hell meaning accepting inconvenience very voluntarily, just to help those. We are inheriting a headache in parampara. This is a transcendental headache. One quality of a devotee is daksha. He should be expert. A devotee is not naive. Yes, a devotee is simple, but he's not a simpleton. He's extremely intelligent. And when he does things very professionally. So Prabhupada loved us. He loved every living entity on this planet. He wanted to deliver. He felt, and therefore he left Vrindavan to travel all over the world and bring Vrindavan at our doorsteps. Can you imagine Vrindavan in Durban? Vrindavan in Malaysia, in Johannesburg? Amazing. Everywhere I go, I'm seeing beautiful temples. Just one person's sincere desire. Not just desire, expertise. Srila Prabhupada was so expert, he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness so that his mercy could continue to flow for the next 10,000 years. So it's not just virtue of care, but proper systems of care. Had he not established the society, we wouldn't be here. So, this is in parampara. That we have received something, we thoroughly understand, we apply it to the best of our ability, and then, using our good intelligence, Srila Prabhupada told Giriraj Swami Maharaj, this is the last few days in Watering the Seed, this book that Giriraj Maharaj written, in that he mentions, this was the last few days of Prabhupada, in the last years, 1990s. good organization through intelligence, so that every detail of the needs of different levels of people are met, devotees are met, and they feel enthused and inspired. Next one is a letter to Satsuru Maharaj. This is 1970. He was in Mumbai. Okay. You are right to say that the example and kindly guidance of our elder members in the society is the most profound force for motivating our students, both new and old, towards advanced Krishna consciousness. So, the kindly guidance of our elder members and the example. So, it's not just the guidance alone. People in every society at all times need practical role models. They need to see someone, okay, I have come to Krishna consciousness. 20, 30 years down the line, I want to be, where will I be? Who will I be like? I need to see some role models. For every field of activity, I need to see some role models. Because until and unless we see some practical role models, our faith may be strong, but inspiration and motivation comes when we actually also see, in addition to the philosophical books are there, but in the lab when you practice those books, then jnana, vijnana sahitam, then it becomes realization. Then the faith is consolidated, substantiated. So yes, I have read a pure devotee like this and sincere devotees like this. But we also need to see some role models in our immediate surroundings to get faith and consolidate our faith. And therefore, Prabhupada is right. You are right. The example of kindly guidance of the members of society is the most profound focus for motivating us, both old, new and old, towards advanced Krishna consciousness. And he says, neglect of following the regulated activities and so-called advancement on the basis of self-motivation are both offensive. One should sincerely try to bring himself to the stage of devotional service, motivated by pure love of Krishna, and our personal example must set the guide for them. So, this was Prabhupada's request, expectation from his followers. Now, what does it mean to care? What am I supposed to do? Niranjan Maharaj, in his book, Taking Care of Krishna's Devotees, writes basically two important points, principles: to provide spiritual shelter and to provide spiritual strength. So this is care. To care means to provide spiritual shelter and to provide spiritual strength. Now, there are some wonderful quotes. He brought up these quotes, Niranjan Swami Maharaj, on spiritual shelter and strength. So, this is from a quote from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the demigods are approaching Lord Vishnu and making a prayer. And in the prayer they say, "We have taken shelter at your lotus feet, which provide shade that gives relief from all material disturbances." Now, in this world there are a lot of material disturbances. Always. At one time or other asked, how long will this miseries be there? Your lotus feet are the only shelter for subduing all the tribulations of this material world. So if you want to get out of these tribulations, the only way is to take shelter of the Lord. And Prabhupada, in the purport to this particular verse, writes gives a very graphic example. Just as when one comes under the shadow of a big tree, the disturbances caused by the heat of the scorching sun are immediately mitigated without once asking for relief. Especially if you are walking in the desert, hot sand, scorching sun, your whole existence is drying up, and suddenly you walk into the cool shade of a tree. Your feet suddenly feels the relief, and also the shade of the head. You feel relief. This is the first symptom of relief, just by walking into a nice, shady, cool place. Similarly, for samsara dhamma loka, if they walk into a place, I have invariably seen wherever, in whichever temples, Srila Prabhupada's instructions are sincerely practiced, and everyone is very sincerely trying to practice and create a very sweet, loving atmosphere. Anyone who walks into that place, he says, this place is not of this world. So this is different. There's something different. There's a difference. There's something different. I'm experiencing something out of the world. It's a fact. This is out of the world. I didn't say my dad is out of my good. Good means anxiety. Anxiety. Of course, to retain that relieved sensation is a big challenge. But at least one feels immediately. The language is Vaikuntha language. Prabhu. This is the outside world, everyone wants to become Prabhu. Here we refer each other to as master and ourselves as servant. Wanting to serve each other. Truly speaking, this is like a sample Vaikuntha. A sample Vaikuntha. Where we develop faith that, there may be a Vaikuntha because I can experience some kind of a glimpse of it. Even in this world, I'm experiencing that people are very eager to serve rather than accepting service. Eager to serve and render service. Taking a very humble position, trying to appreciate it very much. That is what Prabhupada desired. You cannot become free from anxiety by taking shelter of anything material. That is not possible. Those material things, ultimately, if they do not inspire us to take the ultimate shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, basically, which means devotional service. Serving Krishna's lotus feet means Navadabhakti. Sada Sarvabhigam Asapraha. Hiranyakashipu had everything, but he was in anxiety. And Prahlad Maharaj instructs him, my dear father, you are in anxiety because you are not taking asapraha. You are holding on to something temporary and wanting to last eternally. Therefore, we have to take shelter of the eternal. Then we will be happy. And so long as we shall take shelter of the temporary thing, asat, this material world, material society, friendship, love, state, community, nation, anything you take, they are not permanent, so you cannot be happy. But if you take shelter free, then you are actually secure. So, why? Why is it that only lotus feet of the Lord can give us the ultimate relief and satisfaction? Very simple. We are eternal souls. Be eternal. Anything in this creation which is all Bhutva Pariyate, it is temporary. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravati. From Brahma Loka down to the Pala, everything is temporary. So for a person wanting, I always wondered in all the fairy tales that we used to read in childhood, and they lived happily ever after. Come on, who has ever experienced lived happily ever after? But how is it that we all like to hear it? In fact, we start believing it also. There was one devotee, today is the counselor, senior counselor of our temple in Radha, Gopinath. Many years ago, before he came to Krishna consciousness, he wanted to commit suicide. And he was going towards the railway track. And this is a real story. He wanted to commit suicide. And it was a Ganesh Chaturthi day. It was the day Lord Ganesha is worshipped. And in Maharashtra, Ganesh Chaturthi is very, very popular. So before the railway track, he was crossing a pandal where Ganesh. And they were playing, initially they begin with Ganesh music. Afterwards they start Bollywood music. Whole day Bollywood music. And they were playing one particular song. And the song goes like this. How many of you understand Hindi here? Okay, they will be able to understand. This song goes like this. आज चलते तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहाँ गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार है. The volume song says, Achal, come with me. तुझे लेके चलो. I will take you to one particular place. Under such a sky, such a special sky. Under that particular sky, जहाँ गम भी न हो. There are no miseries, no distress, no suffering. आंसू भी न हो, no tears. बस प्यार ही प्यार है. Only love. He said, hey, that's what I'm looking for. And he returned back. He came back to his house, and his house was very close to the Bollywood area. And his friend was a photographer cameraman in the Bollywood. So he told, I want you to find out who wrote this particular song. And this person went and found out. And he went to his house. Knocked on his door and he said, where is this place? Where is the address? So that man laughed and he said, this is my imagination. He said, no, you tell me where it is. I said, hey, get out. I'm busy writing another song. But he was so serious, he said, there must be some place like this. And he came to our Sunday feast program. And by coincidence, by Krishna's inextinguishable mercy, when he walked into the temple, the lecture had started. Chairana Mama was over, and the speaker on Sunday feast was speaking on 15th chapter, 7th verse of Bhagavad Gita, 15.6. Natat bhasayate suryo nashashanko napavaka yadgadvani vartante tadham paramama. And he was describing about Vaikuntha planets. No birth, no old age, no disease, no death. He said, this is what I'm looking for. And he came, and is now one of the counselors giving shelter to many others. So, the soul is eternal, and the Lord is eternal, and the loving relationship of the Lord is eternal. Mavai manusha jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. This in the Sanatana sky. To be reconstituted there is called Sanatana Dharma. And any other religious process, until and unless it leads us to that particular eternal connectivity, as Prabhupada says, three things are eternal. The Lord is eternal, the living entity is eternal, and their relationship is eternal. This is Sanatana. Bhakta, Bhagavan, and Bhakti. Neha Vikrana Shruti Bhaktavaya Vidyate. Bhakti is eternal, Bhakta is eternal, and the Lord is eternal. So therefore, till that point, we won't find satisfaction and happiness. Yayatma Suprasita. So this is about shelter. What about strength? We need spiritual strength. Now where does that strength come from? Do you have to go to a gym? What is that strength? Prabhupada, in one Nityananda Fellowship Nityananda appearance day, in 1977, actually the last year of his pastime on this planet, in Bhubaneswar, he made an interesting statement. Real strength is spiritual strength. That spiritual strength is Balaram. Therefore, we have to take shelter of the lotus feet of Balaram. Balaram means Guru Tattva. Nayam Atma Balahimena Labhya. Upanishad makes this statement. Nayam Atma Balahimena Labhya. Those who are deprived of this strength cannot achieve the lotus feet of the Lord. And what does that bala comes from? He says, so if you want to be anxiety-less, then you must take shelter of the Guru, the spiritual master. And the test of the Guru is that by following his instructions, you become free from anxiety. This is the test. So, what is this strength all about? Basically, we need to come to the shelter. And the shelter is the lotus feet of the Lord, which means devotional service, which connects us to the Lord. Sambandha, Abhigya, and Prayojan. But to receive that shelter, you need strength. Why do we need strength? Because there are so many powers that are pulling us away from within and without. There are so many powers that are pulling us away, convincing us, come on, forget it, come here, come here, come here. And therefore you need strength to come to the lotus feet of the Lord. Even after coming, you need strength to stay here because there are so many forces that are really trying to pull you away. What to speak of progressing in devotional service? There are so many forces pulling us down. Just an hour back, I was reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was reading about Karl Krishna Das. Karl Krishna Das was personally in the association of Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna. Krishna Surya Sarva Maya hai Andhakar Jahan Krishna Taha nahi Maya Andhakar. Karl Krishna Das was personally in the association of Lord Chaitanya, but he was attracted by the Bhattataris and they pulled him. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, even a person like Karl Krishna Das staying next to Lord Chaitanya could be turned away. What to speak of all of us who believe maybe Lord Chaitanya was there. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Even though we have Prabhupada, we have Radha, we have, they're not different. But simultaneously, our attraction here and our distraction from there is not supposed to come. And therefore, it takes time, it takes a nice environment, good association. It doesn't happen So essentially, caring atmosphere means where there is a favorable environment for these two things. Taking shelter, and Krishna's shelter comes from the association of devotees. Even at a very high stage. Machita Margata Prana Bodhayanta Parasara Kadayantashamam Nityam Dushyanti Charavantecha. Even the six Goswamis, they would regularly associate Nana Shastra Vicharana Ekaripura Gopi Bhavana Hari Hari Kalodurana. They were always associated with each other, inspiring each other. Bodhayanta Parasara. Bharat Maharaj, almost at the stage of bhava, but because he didn't have proper association, he fell away, at least temporarily. So, really, shelter means an environment of such wonderful, sweet, loving association. Having come, nobody should feel that I can't think of anything else beyond this. And in that shelter, and the strength comes from mature and timely guidance. Mature and timely guidance. And for that kind of mature and timely guidance, we have to have a proper system. Call it by any name, but we need to have some kind of system where somebody is aware that I am supposed to be responsible for some people, and others are aware that I can anytime go and approach a proper authority without thinking, how can I go? How will I speak about that? Will they maintain confidentiality? Will they be able to guide me? Will I get proper guidance? And therefore, proper training is necessary. And when in an environment where such culture of care prevails, it is like a fertile ground for the Bhakti Radha beach to grow and manifest the fruit of prema. Of course, that may be very long, but at least, as we said, each and every particular devotee feels protected, encouraged, and inspired to remain active in the mission of Srila Prabhupada till the last day of their life. Everyone, no exceptions, anyone who happens to come to this place with some sincerity to take shelter, to understand what the goal of life. You know, as they say, from the womb to the tomb. Different needs at different times, of different natures. Some are physical needs, some are emotional needs, some could be social needs, spiritual needs. They are not mundane. As soon as a person becomes a devotee, these needs also are spiritualized. To consider them as being mundane and materialistic is the sign of immature Krishna consciousness. No. Of course, that doesn't mean people become dependent on that. It's not a philanthropic society to do all these kind of things. However, in relationship to a devotee's life, this kind of thing is very critical. That's called a culture of care. So, sorry I have extended for 12 minutes extra. Supposed to be in the day 30. Thank you very much for your patience. Utsaha Nishya Dhaiya. You are very enthusiastic, very patient, very we'll end here. What is the, you have a question now? 9 o'clock. Oh, acha.
So you can carry on for another 10 minutes or so?
Okay. Unless there are some questions, I'm like, and spontaneous. And if a new person comes, who do I go to? Or what to speak of a new person? Even a particular level of commitment in Krishna consciousness, a particular level of growth in Krishna consciousness. How would I know? Because sometimes people don't want to speak about their problems to anyone and everyone. Unless I have a relationship, why will I even discuss about this? I'm not troubling anyone. Forget about it. Or when I'm overwhelmed, I go to the first person whom I meet. I don't know whether the person is qualified, whether I can trust that person, and whether the kind of guidance that is going to be beneficial. So therefore, we need to have a system of people who are trained, because it requires skills. In fact, I was attending a seminar on listening. Unless we understand them, we will never be understood. And as ISKCON devotees, I have seen, we are expert in advising. Even before the person has completed his question, we are ready with at least 20 answers. And many of the times, that person feels not understood. Even though we may give the right answer, I'll share with you. When I was in 4th standard, which means 8 years, 9 years, I had some problem, fever or something. I was in a township in Orissa, India. And there was only one primary health center in the whole of township. Everyone would go to that place. And there was this doctor in a government hospital. It was a big room, and in that corner he would be sitting. And he was, with his specs all like this. And people would be standing outside the door, and when you do like this, one person will come, right? Then the next person. So I'm standing in the queue, and this person left, one old man left. Then I was walking, and as I was walking to this person, writing something, and as soon as I came near his table, he tore the sheet, and he handed me a piece of paper. And I looked around and said, "For that old man?" He said, "No, this is for you." And I looked, it was a prescription. I said, "This is for me?" He said, "Yes." Next. I have not even spoken what my problem is. And this person already dares. Maybe the doctor was such an expert. Just by looking at me and maybe I sneezed and my eyes, he could immediately judge what. Maybe there was a epidemic and he knew just by looking at me. Maybe he was the best doctor, maybe his prescription was perfect. Maybe if I had taken the medicine, I would have become alright. But I was not at all convinced to take that. I went down, tore the sheet, threw it and walked away. Because I said, he never heard me. I never felt understood. So therefore I didn't want to understand what he was doing. So sometimes we may give the best prescription, but the art of listening, it's a skill. It's a very, very essential skill. Sometimes, there was a very nice quote, sometimes people don't need advice. What they need is a hand to hold, just an ear to hear, a shoulder to place their head, and a heart to understand. 90% of the time, just by speaking, they get the problem solution also. Sometimes they don't need an answer, they just need to be heard. They don't need any advice. Sometimes, most of the time. However, so these are certain skills, communication skills. So, so unless we have a system and train those responsible devotees who are taking up that responsibility with the required virtues, qualities, with the required skills, and with the required knowledge, how will we know that the people to whom they come will be properly guided? And it doesn't happen by chance. And it doesn't happen simply by chanting 64 rounds. It's not possible. Simply by chanting. It's true. Okay, I will ask you a question. Because whenever we speak about these qualities, there is a question. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati kichana sarve gunestatra samasate sura. If you perform devotional service, all good qualities will manifest. Now, I want to ask you a question. Should we develop individually all the qualities, Radha, or should we just develop devotional service and wait for all the qualities to manifest? Because it's a fact. If you do devotional service, all qualities will manifest without any separate endeavor. Should we develop qualities or not? Why do we need Vaishnava retreats at all? Why do we develop Vaishnava etiquette manual? छोड़ दो, just keep chanting. My question. What should we do? Should we just develop pure devotional service? Or should we develop qualities? How many feel we should develop qualities? Please raise your hand. How many say quality is not necessarily manifest? Just chant extra rounds. What about the others? You don't feel anything? Somebody asked me this question in one Saturday center I was visiting. And Krishna somehow inspired me. You know, they had put a nice garland like this. And I held the garland and I said, which is important, the flowers or the thread? What do you say? Are the flowers important in the garland or is the thread important? Obviously. Imagine a thread without flowers. Imagine if I were to come and somebody comes and puts a thread on. Or just throws flowers on my face. Flowers are important, but it is the thread which connects all the flowers. Hara ahattasya kuto mahatguna manodathena savidha. Yes, we should develop, individually try to develop qualities. Because these qualities please Krishna. We try to develop qualities not to become qualified person to attract people. We try to sincerely develop good qualities so that we can serve Krishna better in a pleasing way. Krishna is pleased. Only for the pleasure of Krishna. And devotion to Krishna maintains those qualities in its purest level. Kamsa shows such sensitivity to Devaki. What love, my God! He had tears in his eyes when he was riding the chariot of Devaki. And everyone in the parade was telling, wow, if there has to be a brother, the brother should be like Kamsa. What love for Devaki. Personally, he is riding the horse and carrying the reins in his hand. Till what time? This is a brother and sister affair. Anyway, I have no commitment as yet. Later on, I'm not even gone to my home. Very bold. He took responsibility. He said, no, I've given her. Wow, that is my wife. And I'm trying to protect her at all costs. This is the difference between thread and no thread. If the thread of devotion is not there, all qualities are very superficial. It won't last. It's all a mental platform. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You stop, then I stop. As simple as that. But when I develop devotion to Krishna, I say, I don't care what the world thinks. What does Krishna think of me? What does Krishna think about this quality? Krishna is not impressed by morality. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruvani. The standard morality, the absolute morality. Morality is the standard of activity by which the supreme authority is satisfied. If the supreme authority is satisfied by that quality is the ultimate quality. That's the real flower that is very fragrant to Krishna, and that is very Krishna to everyone. So, coming back to Mataji, your question, that is the purpose of the system. So that whoever we choose, there are these such devotees who show that kind of sincerity or want to take up that responsibility. Both, they have to have the eagerness to take up that responsibility, and the leadership have to have the trust. But we need to have a system. We need to have a system whereby such sincere people are equipped with proper qualities, with proper skills, with proper knowledge, so that they benefit themselves. Actually, whether you are able to help others or not, you will be helped. Just by taking sincerely trying to take the responsibility of others, Krishna takes responsibility of your life. And he showers mercy. So that's the sign of responsibility. Krishna consciousness is also responsibility. And responsibility comes out of concern. Concern that everyone should be doing. So I think we will conclude here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Radha ki Jai.